Okay, we are recording. Hello, this is David, and welcome to Week 2 live chat in EDT 607. It's great to have everyone with us. I'm asking for any questions that you might have at this point. We had one from Heather, and after a little bit of discussion, Heather and I are going to discuss that one-on-one later. Any other questions about the grades you received, especially regarding what you do next? Because I found a fair number who had not adequately specified a performance objective that could be done on a single page. And that's common for the first week in this class. It's not something to worry about. But if I gave you the direction that you need to choose a more specific objective for your one-page website, your one-page web tutorial, it's probably a good idea before you do the next step. It's probably a good idea that you email me what you have decided to be your more specific objective. The real key from here on out, week 2, 3, and 4, is to have a crystal clear, workable objective that you can execute in a single web page. So if you begin week 2 without that objective, it's going to be really tough on you. So I hope that you will call me, email me, somehow contact me, and make sure that you're confident that you have an objective that is workable. Okay, any questions about that?
Hi, this is Bonnie. I had a question about if I decide to make an adjustment to my objective because I don't think that it's going to quite work because I don't think I have the skills to do everything, is that okay if we make changes to what we were originally planning for our project?
Yes, it is, Bonnie. It is not only acceptable, it's also par for the course. You will find as you continue your journey as a multimedia author that the end product rarely resembles what you set off to do and set out to do in a planning document. So revision and refinement are not only acceptable but necessary. Great question, thank you. Any others?
I haven't received a grade for that week 1 objective yet. Should it already be in?
Yes, it should, Matt, and I'm glad you spoke up. You need to turn in again. I don't know where it is. I couldn't find it in the system.
Okay.
After a bit of a look. You need to upload that Word document again to the assignment 1.
Okay, I'll do it right now.
Okay, great.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, with no further ado, let's go ahead and go to your classroom. Week 1, learning outcomes. Last week, of course, was analysis of your learning need and the creation of objectives to satisfy or address that need. Today is the D in the ADDIE model, the development. Oftentimes, if you are the project manager for a multimedia project, you will produce a CDS, which is a system of or a list of design specifications for your learning object. And that is a longish kind of document that often includes a timetable, resources, stakeholders, team members and their duties, as well as deadlines, as well as more specific attributes describing the learning object. If it includes Flash, what version of Flash? If it includes HTML, what version of HTML? Its size, the number of words, the number of assets, etc. Now, since you are not a project leader and since this is only a single page web document, you're not going to be creating a CDS for this particular project. You're going to kind of have a pretend go at it a little bit on the discussion board. But normally you would be fulfilling all of these things right here in a CDS document. In this course design specification, here are the things that you would be covering in detail. And here are the major headings under which those specific things would fall. As you know, you are not creating the entire course in this one-page web tutorial. You're creating only a single learning object that would be a part of the larger course. But we do want to make you aware of the thing called a course design specifications and its role in the creation of multimedia. Now let's go to the next phase here. This particular video presents the course design specification document in a kind of timeless way that is still relevant, so it is a video that I left up. Okay, let's get to the heart of the matter here in week 2. We'll go first with the discussion board. Discussion board consists of 2 parts. And let me kind of blow this up and make sure I can still get it on the screen. There we go. Part 1. In part 1, you're going to justify your use of the web as the place where you're going to deploy your learning object. Now, excuse me, I know this is kind of pretend exercise because you're enrolled in a course that is designed to teach you to deploy learning objects on the web. However, in real situations, and all of you are in very real situations that I enjoyed reading about in your week 1 work, you will often be making the decision whether or not to invest time and resources into creating something that is deployed upon the web. So as part of your work this week, an exercise is for you to go through the steps in evaluating whether or not web deployment is appropriate for a particular thing or an object or a lesson that you wish to deploy on the web. So that's all that you're doing in this part of the discussion board. You're saying, here are the justifications for deploying this thing I'm creating on the web. And you just want to show your knowledge of that, and you'll get that knowledge from the readings here that you are referred to. The second part is also kind of pretend. You are going to pretend that you are indeed writing an entire course, and I think that's where some of the confusion came this week. It's an unfortunate conceit that is kind of required in the course, that you pretend that you're designing a big thing when in actuality you're only designing one small thing and executing one small thing. But let's pretend you are that Verizon trainer. We have a member of the class here who works for Verizon and sees the need for a troubleshooting website. Well, that is what you would then describe in this CDS document. You would describe how you would go about, you would describe the specifications for that entire website, the troubleshooting website. Although in this course, that person is only going to produce one page of that website, one particular problem among 12 or 15 frequently troubleshot questions. I guess that's the past tense of troubleshoot. Let me try to think of some other examples. There is another student here who sees the need to train teachers in newly implemented software, especially the Microsoft Office 365. Now, of course, if you're going to set up a web course that trains teachers in Microsoft Office 365, that's going to be a big website with multiple pages. So she would write her CDS on that big Microsoft 365 idea. However, in this class, she's going to execute only one tool, maybe even one aspect of one tool, whenever she is writing this single learning object to train those teachers in Microsoft Office 365. Is that clear enough about what's going on here? You're pretending to write a CDS about something you're actually not going to create.
So for part 2 then, does it have to correlate to the one web page we're making?
That's Bonnie, right?
No, this is Christina.
Christina. Remind me what you're doing, Christina, and I'll answer in the context of what you're doing.
I was going to do a lesson on simply choosing the proper template for a Glogster project.
There you go. Okay. So your big course would be teaching, are you teaching students about Glogster or teachers about Glogster?
Students.
Okay. Because two people are doing Glogsters. One's focusing on teachers, the other's focusing on students. Okay, you're doing students. So you would build your goal ultimately is to build a multi-page website training your students to be expert Glogsters.
Okay, so it has to pertain back to, like.
You got it.
So while I'm thinking as literally just a one-page project for my Glogster, but for my discussion then, I have to think bigger regarding Glogster.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
The CDS is on the big project that you are conceiving. The multi-page website that gives your students all the training they need to be expert Glogsters.
Okay.
That's your CDS document is about that. And your focus your focus on the actual thing you're building in this course is only one sliver of that big Glogster website that you're going to ultimately build.
So we're pretending we're writing this huge document and then we're kind of summing it up in a nutshell in 200 to 300 words in part 2.
Yeah, please don't go over 200.
Okay.
Please don't go over 200 for either one of these.
Okay.
You have much more important work to do. Basically, all I'm looking for is a demonstration of some very basic knowledge. In part 1, I'm looking for you to demonstrate that you know the 3 to 4 basic justifications that a trainer or teacher would use when deciding whether or not to put something on the web. And the second thing, what I'm looking for is your understanding of the 4 basic parts of a CDS document. Please don't go over 200 words on either one of those. And I promise you'll get full credit. Okay, let's go back to sharing. That was a great question. Thank you very much, Christina, sorry. Okay, so that's the discussion. We're going to keep it to responding to one person because you do have some really important stuff to do this weekend. Here it comes.
Hi, this is Brenda. Really quick question. Hi. We're responding to one person on both topics, so that's 2 responses, or we pick one of the parts and we respond on that?
You respond to the person. And
on either part.
Yeah, whenever you respond to that person, you will see in his or her post, hopefully 2 sections.
Okay.
The first section on the justification for web deployment and the second section on the basic elements of a CDS document.
Okay.
So you respond to that person in both those parts.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. As you learned in week 1, this is the conceit of the course. You've been commissioned to build a single web page for a client or your school. The tutorial must be built in HTML. It must include graphic. Now, by graphic, we mean some type of art, whether it be a table that you draw, or whether it be in HTML, or it can be a table that you draw in another program, take an image of it, and import the table as an image. I don't care. Of course, graphic can also include clip art, photography, GIFs, animated GIFs, that kind of thing. Now, multimedia elements refer to animation and video. So there you're talking about the ability to embed objects that are multimedia objects into your web page. It's called wrapping. What you do is you take these multimedia objects that can be very complex sometimes, but you wrap them in HTML so that they can appear on the web and students can interact with them, although you maybe didn't even build them yourself. And of course, it must be constructed around teaching a very specific feature, a very specific technique, a very specific concept. Okay, here's your assignment. In a single document, and I don't care whether that document is a Word document, PowerPoint document, a Sway document, a Visme document, Publisher document, Adobe Illustrator document. I don't care what kind of document it is. You're going to compile the following. Here it is. Provide the title of your learning object and an overall description of it, paragraph. Title and a paragraph description of the learning object, the single page learning object. If there are steps involved, be sure to list those steps. Steps for the students to follow when learning what you want them to learn. Then, on that basis, you're then to storyboard your design using the drawing tools in the program that you chose. Now, that's one way to go about it. Another way to go about it is to go ahead and bite the bullet, download the template from Dreamweaver that you're going to use, or download into Dreamweaver the template you're going to use. You can use a prefab Dreamweaver template, or you can use a prefab template, HTML template that you get from anywhere, because Dreamweaver will open any HTML template no matter where you got it. You go ahead and you choose the template you're going to build your lesson on. And you go ahead and start putting in parts of that lesson. They don't have to be active yet. This is just an outline of it. So you can put in placeholders. You can draw a big box and say screenshot here. You can draw another box and say video here. You can outline a bunch of steps and say steps 1 through 5 will go here. In other words, I'm looking for a graphic outline, and that's what a storyboard is, a graphic outline. If you want to do it in Word, PowerPoint, whatever, fine. If you want to do it in Dreamweaver and go ahead and put in placeholder stuff, that's fine too. Now let me show you some examples of storyboarding. Lillian Chang teaches the little ones. Here's her title. And she wrote a paragraph on her title for some reason. But that's fine, works for me. But her title is Getting Started with Glogster. So you Glogster people out here might want to take a special interest in what Lillian has done here. The page will include a navigation bar on the left side. Now you can include your links either on the left side or the right side. All you got to do is change the float. Where it says float, all you got to do is change it from left to right, and they'll flop on over there. The first lesson of the unit consists of an introduction to glogs, and here are the different lessons that she has planned. Logging in, creating a glog, adding and changing text in a text box, changing the font, etc. This page will also have a sidebar on the right, so she's going to do 3 columns, sidebar, container in the middle with text, sidebar on the right. And I have uploaded the 3-column template for you. This tutorial will teach students the basic skills needed in order to start using Glogster. First, they'll learn how to log in, then they'll learn how to create a glog, then they'll learn how to add or change text, they'll learn how to add or change font features, and they will learn how to save it. So that's all they're learning in this one page. That's all they're learning on this one page, are those things right there. Performance objectives again. She included the steps in her narrative because I want to see you thinking through this. I want to see you scaffolding the steps or the sequence of learning that the students need in order to achieve your performance objective. So here's her outline in text form. And look at what she did. She went ahead and went into Dreamweaver And although none of these are active, none of these have anything hyperlinked to them yet, it's simply a flat image. Her final object, I don't know if I put it up for you or not, but her final object didn't look anything like this. This was simply her first attempt at a basic layout of the page. Now, let's look at another one. I think this one uses Microsoft Word. Still downloading. Here we go.
Can I ask real quick? So the assignment is actually going to be just the small one. It's not. We're not thinking broad like we were in the discussion. Is that correct?
Correct. For this, you are focusing on the actual thing you are supposed to build. Okay, here the title is Working with Tables. Here's the one paragraph description of it. It will take students through the steps needed to insert a table. And so you can pretend that this one learning object on working with tables is a part of a larger Microsoft Word course about becoming proficient in a lot of different areas of Microsoft Word, whether it be using its spell checker, inserting images, creating text boxes, using the references tool. That would be a really nice website for her to design for her students. And one aspect of that website is working with tables. And you'll see that the objectives have been narrowed down just to the table. And here are any steps. She has shown me that she's thought through this as an educator. And here is the design. And yes, this is done in Word. So all she did was use the table drawing tool, the thing she's teaching about. She's using the table drawing tool in Word to draw an outline of her learning object. In the header is going to be working with tables. Obviously the links are going to be on the left-hand side, and those are the names of the links. And in the middle comes the content that include the steps that are broken up with any graphics. Here's a graphic, a screen capture is a graphic. Text broken up with any graphics that will be used to illustrate the steps. So she is creating a schematic. Here are some of the screen captures that she is planning on using. So she has gone ahead and used some screen capture tools, and I link you to a list of about 40 ones that you can choose from. She's gone ahead and used some screen capture tools to grab and even illustrate. Here, this is obviously done in Snagit, where she put in their red arrows, and even illustrate some of the screen captures that she's thinking about using in her object, her learning object. So you see how these screen captures illustrate steps that were given as text. It would be even better if Margaret could have made a video of each one, but that comes in the next course. Let's grab a last one, and I think this was done with PowerPoint. Nope, done with Word again. There's something different about it. Let me see. This is Tammy. Her learning object title is Making Elementary Education Equitable with Glogster. Very popular tool. Here's her one paragraph description of this single web page tutorial. Here are the objectives for this single web page tutorial. Here are the steps outlined that students must follow, showing that she has thought through the learning process that students will have to undergo. And here is the student also used Dreamweaver. Again, this is not how the final project ended up looking. None of these links are live. None of these images are even the actual size images that she ended up using, nor are they even the actual images that she ended up using. Some of them are not. But it does give me an idea, a clear idea, of what she was going to do, that she kind of had understood how to sequence things on an HTML page to facilitate learning. Okay, let me pause there and see if you have any questions. Go. No questions? Everybody's, oh, here we go. Go ahead.
I did have one question about the CSS program. When I did the trial, it didn't give me the option of Dreamweaver 4, and so I ended up with the Creative Cloud version, or CSS or something like that. And I didn't notice a lot of the videos aligning with what the CSS could do. How do I move objects without the layering ability?
Okay, first, you downloaded what's called the CC version of Dreamweaver.
Right.
Okay, the Creative Cloud version. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. And cascading style sheets are how you apply in a global fashion design elements to your page. So just so that we can kind of have the same language here.
Okay.
Now, you're looking for instruction on how to, you said, move objects. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what is it about layers that you're trying to understand?
On one of the web videos I found, they mentioned something about you should use layers, but then another one they said that was so 90s, so I'm not sure if that's even what I need.
Okay.
I just wanted to be able to move the object, and I tried the float right, float left, and that really didn't seem to move it the way I wanted to. Is there a way to move an object like you do in PowerPoint or on a Word document where you can like place it on the screen where you want it?
Unfortunately, there is not.
Okay.
You have to use HTML commands in order to position things either in an absolute or a relative fashion on an HTML page. Now, and who is speaking, by the way?
Bonnie.
Hi, Bonnie. What we can do is we're almost finished here with this part of the class. What we can do is have you share your screen,
Okay.
bring up the template in Dreamweaver that you're working with, and you tell me what it is you're trying to do.
Okay.
And I will hopefully be able to show you how to do that.
Okay.
Layers, at this point, you do not have to worry about layers. No, you do not.
Good to know.
If it were Photoshop, PowerPoint, something like that, yeah, layers are important right from the get-go. Not right now for you.
Okay.
But no, you can't click and drag in Dreamweaver. In Dreamweaver, yet. They're working on it. Okay, any other questions?
I was, this is Christina. So I'm one of the ones doing Glogster, and so because I'm going to be out of town next week, my plan was to go ahead and try to go ahead and do my page, and then, you know, snag a picture of it, put it into my paper for this week, and then at that point I'm sort of almost ahead of the game for next week. And I have Dreamweaver CS6.
Good for you.
Well, I guess. Truthfully, I can't make this thing do anything. So,
I'll trade you my CS4 for your CS6.
Well, you can have all of it. I can't do anything. I managed to do what we had to do last week, and honestly, beyond that, I've tried, you know, kind of just playing with it to get the hang of it and see where things are going. But like the header is in two different spots, and part of the header will change color and the other header won't, and I can't figure out how to get to the other header. And then I need to add a fifth link area on the left sidebar, but I can't do that. And then when I try to change the color, it's like there's an underneath color and that color pops up. I'm so confused. So I guess my question is, I guess, so can I just stick around tonight too and find out how all this works? Because
Sure.
I'm having a heck of a time trying to figure out anything.
Sure. You sound like that you are kind of backed into a corner and are pretty frustrated about Dreamweaver at this point?
I'm pretty much hating every second of this at this point.
Okay.
The paper, no problem. I'll figure that out. But yeah, the actual site itself, I just don't know what's happening.
Okay, no problem. We'll get it taken care of.
All right, thank you.
Hi, this is Brenda. So I'm attempting to do the week 2 assignment and outline all the steps and the objective and the title, but I'm having a hard time with tables. So I'm not familiar with Microsoft Word tables. So maybe I'm thinking maybe I should just, instead of trying to learn tables and Dreamweaver, maybe just focus on Dreamweaver and then get a head start. Because I've worked with HTML before briefly, so it's not completely foreign to me. However, so I'm just curious what you suggest.
Tables in Microsoft Word are easier to learn than HTML, but you do what you want. I can give you a really thorough video on how to create and manipulate tables in Microsoft Word. That's not a problem. Why don't I give you that video and you kind of make a choice, okay?
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm gonna grab that video URL for her real quickly. And since you're kind of curious about that, I will go ahead and upload the URL, and it could be for anyone. You know what? I could even put this in as a tutorial in your week 2. But here's the URL, and I will put it in the chat box. There it is in the chat box. Here's the share. Somebody opened it up. Okay. So yeah, this is a video I did, so I know what's in it. Welcome to the evolution. Okay. Other questions, and then we'll do some demonstrations here. Who is the person who was having so much problem with Creative Cloud? Who was that?
That was Bonnie.
Bonnie. Okay, Bonnie, I'm going to sorry, go ahead.
I was the one who was having object issues. I'm not sure who was having issues with the whole CS6.
Okay, me either. But Bonnie, why don't I make you a presenter?
Okay.
Bonnie, you are now a presenter.
So what do I do to share my screen? Do I just pull up my...
I'm about to tell you. Go up into the upper left-hand corner of your Cisco WebEx Meeting Center, click on Share, and pull down to Share My Screen. And here comes your screen. There's your screen. Beautiful waterfall. Okay.
So I was originally working on, I was going to have my kids practicing their counting, and I had a very ambitious project, but I'm starting to think more likely I'm not going to be able to do it with my low skills. But kids in kindergarten are supposed to be able to count objects that are in a shape like a circle or a rectangle, so I was going to try to form these colored triangles into a rectangle for them to count, but since I can't seem to float the objects in different spots, I'm thinking that's probably not going to be feasible with Dreamweaver, at least not at my skill.
Okay. There is a very simple solution to this,
Okay.
And that is in Microsoft Word or PowerPoint, go ahead and make the triangles look like and do what you want them to do.
Okay.
Then you snag it or another tool and take a screenshot of that and save it as an image.
Okay.
And save that image into your root folder.
Now that would be okay if I just wanted to be able to see it, but if I want them to actually be able to interact with that, I wouldn't be able to do that unless I included some kind of like Photoshop or something, right?
Being able to interact would require a level of JavaScript programming. That is not a part of this course.
Okay, that's what I was figuring. All right, well then I'll go with the more simplistic matter. Thank you.
Okay, good. That was easy. That one was easy. Okay. Now, who was our CS4 person?